Welcome to Gossip About Gossip, powered by Hedera Hashgraph. In each episode, we'll cut through the hype of blockchain promises and explore real-world examples of organizations creating the next generation of decentralized applications, which will bring trust back to the internet for us all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special episode of Gossip About Gossip, the podcast where we talk about real-world applications of distributed ledger technology. My name is Zenobia Godschalk, and I'm the SVP of Communications here at Swirlds Labs, helping to grow the Hedera ecosystem. Today, my guest is the new president of the Hedera Council, Charles Adkins. Hi, Charles. How are you?
Hi, doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, on behalf of the entire Hedera ecosystem, welcome. And we are so excited that you are here. I would encourage our listeners to also listen to the interview that you did with Blockchain Journal earlier this week. There's a lot of good information in there. And so we're going to try to cover a little bit different information, right? Give folks something new and help them understand you a little bit better. But I do think it's valuable to first start with a little bit of your background and how you got here.
Yeah, sure. So I was actually, I call it classically trained and schooled in global econ and finance. I started out in investment banking with Morgan Stanley on the private equity side for several years in the very early 2000s, and then moved over to U.S. Department of Treasury, where I held a security cleared position there that mainly watched the functions of online banking and online funds transfers globally, which was a very new thing at the time, although we all know it very well now. Started learning about crypto and NFTs and the whole Web3 ecosystem right around 2013, 2014. Ended up at Polygon as the vice president of enterprise applications and financial services in Polygon, very early days there, and then on to Aptos Labs, where I led global business partnerships there. And I've known about Hedera for a long time. I've seen a couple tweets already out there, or X messages out there now joking how I've talked about and known about Hedera for 3 or 4 years and what took me so long. So yeah, I'm officially here now.
Awesome. Our community will find anything and everything. So yes, any Taylor Swift tweets or otherwise, they will be surfaced very soon. So, you've been aware of Hedera, but you've sort of been, focused on other ecosystems. What brought you to this role, or what compelled you to say, hey, maybe I should give this a shot?
Yeah, when I kind of saw that the role between executive chairman and president was being split, and Brett was going to focus on the chairman role and the president role was open, I said, this is a great opportunity for me to put my hat in the ring and see if the governing council and the search committee is going to be willing to accept me as president and go through that process. So, it was a long process, many thought-provoking questions and a lot of homework and several months in the process, really, to get to this point. But Hedera has always been really interesting to me, and a lot of it has to do with the governing council model and the way that it's working by utilizing enterprises and taking their feedback and allowing them to be a part of how the ecosystem grows and how the actual technology is being used. You don't see many other chains taking that approach. They typically focus on the consumer, what the consumer has to say. They try to build products based on, what they feel an individual consumer may want. But getting that institutional learning from organizations that already have that big of a footprint in the global economy is a really big deal. And I think that's one of the best ways to kind of drive the information about this technology out in, to a broader scope of people.
And so, taking a little bit of a step back, we did announce, that we are splitting the role. So can you help folks who are not, necessarily involved in governance or involved in this level at their organization understand the difference between chair and president?
Yeah, the chair is the president role, and specifically what I'll be mainly focusing on is the operations of the staff at Hedera. how Hedera is actually running some influence on the foundation, Hashgraph Association, working very closely with World's Labs and just really understanding kind of the broader ecosystem and community and helping to drive the operational efforts on that side and hopefully influence and bring in more council members in 2024, which, will be really exciting. On the chairman role, that's more managing some of the governance things, some of the governance decisions, managing many of the meetings, many of the governing council members, the voting processes, more things of that nature as far as the governance side is concerned. And I'll be mainly more on the operations side. You'll probably see me a lot more publicly speaking at events, being at events. That's more of a role that I'll most likely be playing.
And as you go out and engage, with the public, are there any things that you want them to know in terms of, either folks who have known you in, previous lives or who are just getting to know you?
Yeah, I think if it's somebody that's not familiar with Hedera or kind of DLT technology, blockchain technology in general, I hope that they really do take a look at the consensus mechanisms and the actual technology that drives Hedera to be what it is. It's very unique, it's very scalable and very fast. And it's one of those, they call it, the blockchain trilemma of how do you stay decentralized, fast, and secure. And Hedera is one of the chains out there. Well, I will say it's DLT. It's not necessarily a sequential chain that really solves a lot of those problems. And I think that's why many of the larger organizations have been drawn to it, is because it does have that safety and security aspect, as well as being able to have the throughput and speed that an organization of those size would need. But that doesn't mean that if you're a builder or developer out there building a game, you can only imagine that Hedera is a great place to come and test building your game. If you get a lot of users, that's something that's really helpful. If you're building an NFT project and you're going to have many interactions and you want your community to thrive in an environment that's safe and one where the performance is going to excel, Hedera is a great place as well. So it's one of those rare places where the individual consumer can really find a place and large organizations can really meet all of the standards that they have as well.
Yeah. And I think, we talk about that too, when we say it is built for enterprise or for that enterprise scale. That doesn't mean it's just for enterprise. I have yet to meet a founder and entrepreneur who's like, yep, I just want to have this tiny project that never grows. Like, my wildest dream is to be an enterprise someday. So why wouldn't you start by building on kind of that enterprise backbone and that infrastructure that can help you scale up to where you want to be when you're successful beyond your wildest dreams.
Yeah, that's right.
And so the community is going to see you, out and about at a lot of places. I think probably the first place, since you're going to be up and running very quickly, is in Davos in January. I think you have been there before, right? It's
been several years, but yes, I have. I was back there in a government capacity with Treasury.
Yeah. And so can you, give us a little bit of color? We've taken some of this community on that journey, but, the kinds of meetings and the kinds of interactions that you hope to have there now as part of Hedera.
Yeah, I think a lot of the meetings that I'll hope to have is obviously with large organizations, but also people that can, move policy along, that are thinking about Web3 and blockchain and DLT technology in a way that can bring some clarity to regulation. That's something that's always really exciting to hear kind of what's working out there and what may be finding challenges in certain regions. There's obviously a global presence there. So it's really good to have, boots on the ground, as it were, and hear it from people who are actually dealing with this on a day-to-day basis. The other thing is there's a lot of people there that have, environmental and sustainability goals that I think Hedera can really impact in a positive way. So those are a lot of the conversations I'd like to have. And then with our governing council now being so strong, there's a lot of examples that I'll be able to bring to the table to say, hey, look, this is already working. This isn't just a vision that we have. These are actual case studies that are working. And I think that's going to be a really positive thing.
Yeah. And, touching on the Governing Council, I won't say they put you through the ringer, but it was certainly a good and detailed interview process. So any insights from that or things that you want to share in terms of your conversations with them throughout that process?
Yeah, I feel really optimistic about the level of knowledge that the Governing Council has. Typically, there's this misconception that these large organizations don't really understand, Web3. They don't understand decentralization. They don't understand the idea of how to build a community around a technology. And through that process, I can say I've learned that it's completely the opposite of that. These are highly educated people and not only building communities and brands. They understand decentralized technology and governance. They understand how important it is to have transparency and sustainability. Just really incredible questions all along the way, and actually just many things that were very thought-provoking that hopefully I can focus on moving forward too.
Yeah, deeper conversations then can happen on crypto Twitter, for instance.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, Charles, we know you have a very busy day. Anything else you would like to share with us or with the community before we let you go?
I think I'll just give a big thank you to the Governing Council members who are entrusting me with this position, and a really big thanks to the entire Hedera community. The outreach on social media and people messaging me and congratulating me has been pretty overwhelming for today, but I'll be sure to reach out to as many people as I possibly can. But I really appreciate all the love from the community. It's been huge.
Awesome. We love to hear that. Thank you so much, Charles.
Thank you.